It started as a day every child looked forward to, a spring field trip promised with laughter, discovery, and the simple joys of being 5 years old. April 3rd, 2012, Lakefield, Minnesota, a town of fewer than 2,000 people, where the loudest thing you might hear on a weekday morning is the school bell or a lawnmower cranking to life. Quiet, peaceful, safe. The children of Lakefield Elementary's kindergarten class boarded a small yellow bus at 8:04 a.m., just like they did every day. The plan was simple. Spend the day at Clearwater Forest Reserve, a sprawling 600-acre area about 25 minutes from town, known for its shallow lake, kid-friendly trails, and picnic areas. A perfect spot for a group of 20 excited kids, 2 teachers, and 1 parent chaperone. But by 6:30 p.m. that evening, they were all gone. No calls, no messages, no one returned. The bus, missing, the teachers, vanished. The 20 children, all between the ages of 5 and 6, not a trace. And that's where this story begins, with a perfect day that ended in absolute silence. Who took them? Where did they go? And why did a fisherman, exactly 1 week later, pull up something from Clearwater Lake that would chill the town and the nation to its core? When the school bus didn't return by 4 p.m., the office secretary, Marlene Haskins, assumed they were just running late. Clearwater often didn't have the best reception, and the teachers might have lost track of time. But by 4:45 p.m., parents began to gather outside the school gates, confused, irritated, some anxious. At 5:10 p.m., the school principal, Victor Holbrook, finally called the local sheriff's department. By 6 p.m., the sun began to dip behind the pines, and a full-scale search was underway. The Lakefield Sheriff's Office dispatched a dozen deputies. Flashlights cut through the woods. Helicopters scanned the treetops. Boats crisscrossed the lake. Nothing. No sign of tire tracks leading away from the reserve. No signs of struggle, no dropped backpacks, no scattered shoes, only a few footprints, small, child-sized ones, trailing off into the woods before simply disappearing. Parents were told to go home. "We're doing everything we can," the sheriff repeated like a mantra. But behind closed doors, no one had any answers. How does a school bus vanish in broad daylight with 23 people aboard? Was it an abduction, a tragic accident, or something else? By the morning of April 4th, the national media had picked up the story. Missing, 20 kindergartners vanish on field trip, plastered headlines coast to coast. Grief and desperation gripped the town. Parents, barely holding it together, took to the woods themselves. They carried flashlights, posters, some brought food, warm clothing, anything in case their children were out there scared and alone. Cara Donnelly, mother of 5-year-old Eli, collapsed at the lake's edge. "They were just babies," she sobbed into a reporter's microphone. "How could they all just vanish?" Rumors ignited. Some said it was a mass kidnapping, though no group claimed responsibility. Others whispered about the reserve's history, how in the 1950s 2 teenagers disappeared hiking those same trails. A few even muttered about the old cabin, a crumbling structure deep in the woods said to be cursed. No one had used it in decades. It was supposedly condemned, but one deputy found its door strangely ajar. Inside, just rotting wood, dead leaves, and a small red scarf. It was identified by a parent as belonging to Ava Green, one of the missing. But no other trace of the children was found. What had happened in that forest? And why was there still no sign of the bus, the teachers, or even a single call for ransom? 7 days passed. On the morning of April 10th, 52-year-old Jack Feller took his boat out onto Clearwater Lake. Jack was a retired construction worker, a quiet man who fished more for peace than food. He cast his net just past a weedy stretch of shoreline, shallow, murky water. As he began to reel it in, he felt resistance, something heavy. He pulled hard, expecting an old tire or fallen branch. Instead, it was a backpack, waterlogged, torn at the strap, bright red with a name written inside, Maxie T, room 1B. Jack froze. He didn't cast again. He called 911. The lake was immediately cordoned off. Divers were brought in. Over the next 48 hours, investigators pulled up 6 more backpacks, all confirmed as belonging to the missing children. Inside were personal items, crayon drawings, snack wrappers, juice boxes still sealed. But not a single body. No footprints along the shore, no bus, no clothing. And then came the final horror. On April 12th, a diver found a child's shoe tangled in underwater brush. Attached to it was a small foot. The rest of the body was never found. As Clearwater Lake became the center of a recovery mission, law enforcement began to turn their focus toward the adults who were responsible for the trip. Specifically, Miss Leanne Porter, age 29, lead kindergarten teacher, described by parents as gentle, patient, and beloved by the kids. Mr. Sam Hargreaves, 32, assistant teacher, known for being quirky, creative, sometimes forgetful, but well-liked. Nora Benson, 41, volunteer parent chaperone, mother of twin boys in the class, recently divorced, emotionally fragile. All 3 vanished with the children. But as detectives looked deeper, cracks in the image began to form. Miss Porter, it turned out, had taken personal leave the year prior after a breakdown, something the school never disclosed to parents. Rumors swirled about a traumatic incident involving a child's death in another district, though no formal records were ever released. Mr. Hargreaves had been issued a warning just 6 months earlier for allegedly leading a group of kids off the trail during a fall field trip, getting them lost for nearly an hour. When questioned about it back then, he said they were looking for a secret treehouse. And Nora Benson? A custody battle with her ex-husband had turned bitter. He accused her of emotional instability and paranoia about something happening to the kids. She once called the school board demanding they cancel the trip to Clearwater altogether. No one listened. Did one of the adults snap? Was this a planned disappearance or a panicked accident gone wrong? And why were their phones found weeks later, dumped in a metal trash barrel near a closed highway rest stop 40 miles away? By the end of April, almost a month after the disappearance, an anonymous tip came into the sheriff's office. A man claimed he'd seen a yellow school bus traveling down an old logging road near the northeastern ridge of Clearwater around 9:30 a.m. the morning of the trip. I remember because I thought, what the hell is a school bus doing way out here? He described it as damaged looking, like it had been off-roading, splattered in mud, a cracked back window. A search of that logging road turned up nothing, except one thing. Deep grooves in the earth, partially washed out by recent rain, the kind made by heavy wheels. Forensic investigators confirmed they matched the tire model used by Lakefield's buses. That stretch of road led toward a long-abandoned mining shaft, sealed since the 1970s. It took days to excavate safely, but when investigators broke through the rusted entrance, they found no bus, only a strange message spray-painted in red across the stone wall. Don't look for us, we're safe. Was it real? A hoax? A cruel message planted by someone seeking attention? To this day, no one knows. As spring turned to summer, Lakefield lost its sense of time. Missing posters faded in windows. The laughter of children was replaced with quiet grief. Parents stopped showing up at town events. The school year ended with no ceremony, no joy. Just 20 empty desks and a memorial table holding photos, stuffed animals, and candles that rarely stayed lit in the wind. Pastors spoke of faith. Psychics were called in. Conspiracy theorists descended on the town, claiming cult activity, government experiments, alien abductions, anything to explain what made 20 children and 3 adults vanish into the forest without a sound. But in the sheriff's office, theory wasn't enough. They needed answers. Sheriff Michael Yates, a veteran with 30 years of experience, admitted during a press briefing in July, "We have no suspects, no footage, no ransom demand, no communications, only recovered items and questions we can't answer." The case went cold until the one-year anniversary. On April 3, 2013, the Lakefield Elementary School received a plain white envelope addressed in shaky handwriting. Inside was a single postcard. No return address. On the front, a painting of a peaceful lake surrounded by mountains. On the back, 7 haunting words. "We are safe. Don't try to find us." No signature, no location, just that. The handwriting was analyzed. Experts determined it bore strong similarities to Miss Leanne Porter's, though degraded, possibly due to stress or injury. A fingerprint was found, partial, smeared. It matched no one in any database. The FBI got involved again. The postcard was tracked back to a print shop in Colorado, but no useful leads came of it. The case stalled once more. Had Miss Porter taken the children? Was she trying to protect them from something or someone? Or had someone else forced her to write it? Years passed. Every April, a memorial vigil was held on the shore of Clearwater Lake. Parents left flowers. Names were read aloud. But the lake remained silent. Then, in 2018, 6 years after the disappearance, a recreational diver exploring the lake for fun discovered something just beneath a thick bed of reeds in the eastern cove. Metal, curved, faded yellow, the bus. It was upside down, half buried in silt. Windows cracked, emergency door open. Inside, the seats were all intact. No blood, no bodies, just a disturbing discovery. All 20 backpacks were neatly arranged in the aisle, one after the other. And at the very front, on the driver's seat, sat a children's drawing, crayon on paper. It showed a school bus in front of trees, and something behind the trees. A figure, all black. No face, just a hand reaching out. The drawing was signed, Eli D. Eli Donnelly, one of the missing. That was the last physical evidence ever found. To this day, the Lakefield kindergarten vanishing remains one of the most unsettling, unsolved cases in modern history. No bodies, no suspects, no confirmed sightings. Theories still swirl. Some believe it was a cult relocation. Others claim the bus was hijacked and driven into the lake to cover a mass abduction. A few whisper about supernatural involvement, pointing to the strange message in the mine shaft and the faceless figure in the drawing. The parents? Some moved away, unable to bear the constant ache. Others stayed, clinging to hope. The Donnellys still light a candle every night. "It's not about closure," Cara Donnelly once told a reporter. "It's about not letting the world forget they were here." So who took the children? Where did they go? Why leave the backpacks in the lake? And why send a postcard claiming they're safe? And if they are, who or what are they hiding from?